It's not only the magnificent Palace Pier that has helped to make Brighton famous, it's also been the railways, enabling day trippers to flock to the seaside here. But just along the beachfront in Portslade, there's trouble on the tracks. A lorry has jumped the lights at a level crossing, playing chicken with the trains. The traffic cops need to get there fast. PC Ray Dalman's on his way.
I had these visions of this car going straight across. Worst case scenario, someone trapped, someone died, a train comes along, because, you know, a train can't change direction, can it? It's impossible.
Nobody has been hurt, but in its hurry to beat the train, the truck has wrecked a barrier and brought the crossing to a standstill.
Christina got there before me, and she'd parked her vehicle across to prevent anybody going through, so she was protecting the scene.
I've never seen a barrier down. You've got this wreckage in the middle of the road, pedestrians everywhere that could be witnesses who could have vital information, but you've also got the danger of people trying to walk across the train line with no barrier. So you've got to secure all these people, and you've got to find a suspect, and you've got to request other units, who is all a bit hectic.
I'll tell you what, a road closure up on...
And with the rush hour approaching, it's only going to get a whole lot worse.
So I'll go right at the end and put a road closure on,
yeah? Mini roundabout.
OK, no problem. Down the road, there was great big Arctics coming up, wanting to turn right over the gates. So I went off for a little while and did a road closure and prevented those vehicles from coming up.
Getting the traffic under control is one thing. Finding the person responsible for the chaos, the truck driver, is going to be quite another.
I got people off the crossing that were trying to cross. Luckily, we had a couple of really good witnesses.
Well, what happened, mate, was a dumpster truck came flying through the gates when they were closing and just drove off. That's all I saw.
Witnesses, obviously, are quite excitable when they talk to us, and they will try and give us as much information as they can. What we do is we don't just take one witness, we then look around for other people. There was a bus on the opposite side of the gates that were coming up. Bus driver saw what happened, and there was also some pedestrians standing by the gates waiting for the barriers to come down. And one of them took a registration number and the name of a company. But all the witnesses have said that the vehicle didn't stop and that she came straight through the barriers, and as a result, one of the arms caught one of the barriers.
It was a skip-it lorry, if I'm allowed to say that. Skip-it. So that's not a little lorry. It's high-sided, so no wonder it hit the barrier.
Conducted P&C on the vehicle and found out that it belonged to a local skip company. And apparently he's overtaken a vehicle prior to going across the gates. The gates were coming down, and obviously hasn't made it. He's hit the top of the thing, which he would have known that he's hit it, I would have thought. And then just driven off and not made any calls to the police station at all. Not reported it, so we're going to go down and see him.
In the meantime, until the barrier's repaired, just a thin line of tape is all that's keeping the public from the wrong side of the tracks.
Network Rail arrived and they assessed the scene. And then we had an update that they were looking for a new barrier, but they couldn't find one at this time. And a replacement barrier was going to cost about £20,000. But the roll-on effect for that is that the trains had to come along that part of the track very, very slowly. And for every minute they were late, they would get fined by Network Rail £80.
Oh, I've not seen one this bad. That's for certain.
CCTV then.
Might have.
With the truck's registration details and CCTV footage of the incident, the traffic cops have all the evidence they need to bring the driver in.
Can you send a PCSO down here, please? We need taking over from so we can go down and make the arrest.
Traffic cops are drawn to the job from all walks of life, many from the armed services. PC Philman used to be in the Navy before making a sea change.
I was a submariner. I lived on a submarine for about 3 months at a time. It was fantastic, I loved it. You go to sea, you're single, you've got no mortgage, you don't have to wash, you don't have to clean yourself, you don't have to worry about bills or letters, and there's no women. But it's a cocoon, and it is great.
He swapped a life under the ocean waves for a life on the open road.
I love cars, petrol head. I just like the adrenaline, like dealing with incidents with cars, and it's always mobile, and you've got to find it, you've got to hunt it down, and that's why I like traffic, because you become a hunter. Yeah, sorry, what do you want me to do with it?
Today's prey is what the cops call a misper, who's lost his bearings.
Yeah, see, have we got any local mispers fitting dodgy? A misper is a missing person, but they've turned it into misper to save themselves some time, energy and effort in saying missing person.
The misper is an old-age pensioner who's been reported lost by his wife.
And I think there he is.
The man's chancing his arm on the A23. It's one of the busiest roads in the whole of Sussex.
And he really should be doing it for his own safety and that of... Oh, chap, do you want to stay there? Hello? Do you want to come down to the passenger side first? I love my loudspeaker. That's the best part of the kit, that is. Hello, mate. Hi. Do you want to sit in here for us? It's a bit safer for you.
I can't hear what you're saying.
Do you want to have a seat, chap?
What for?
Because this is a really busy road and I don't want you getting run over.
No, I'm all right.
Where are you going to?
I'm just going down to Brighton.
You go to Brighton?
Yeah.
What,
well,
you walking?
not far to Brighton, but then...
Oh, right, how far?
About halfway.
About halfway to Brighton?
Anyway, I'm going.
Oh, no, no.
It's 20 miles all the way to Brighton.
On that road, you kill yourself because it's a 3-lane A road. People treat it as a motorway. There's no hard shoulder for him to walk on. If he'd have slipped and fallen, he'd be dead. I can't let you walk on a road, chap.
I'm not walking in the road.
You'll hurt yourself. All right. Where are you going to? There's a safer road that side. If you want to walk to Brighton, I'll take you to the little road on the side.
Yeah?
Not in a dual carriageway, mate.
Right, mate.
No. Put it this way. If you don't do as you're told.
I'm not hurting you.
I know. I'm concerned about your safety. Where have you come from?
I'm Crawley.
From Crawley. Where are you going to?
Look, can I just move? I'm not
No, you
hurting
can't.
you. I'm not doing any
I'm
trouble.
not going to let you go in a minute. You're endangering yourself and other road users, mate.
I'm not
You
doing
are.
stuff. I'm just down here.
I'll get in my car, I'll take you to the next slip road and we'll get you off this bit of road, all right? No, listen.
Leave me alone, mate.
Right. He was angry. Initially, he was trying to block me. He was just trying to keep walking. Yeah, at this time, I'm just trying to convince him to get in my car at this time. OK. You're not known. You're not wanted. You are free to roam, OK? However, not on my A-class road, you're not. Oh. All right, so come on, get in the car and I'll take you to the service station.
The man hasn't broken the law.
People can walk on an A road. If they're stupid or mad or got really good reasons to walk on the road. I could assess from him straight away that he had no good reason to.
The old man's getting a ride home with the old bill.
So what made you want to walk to Brighton today then?
I had a row with my wife. I said, I can't stand no more of this. I just can't stand no more. And I said, I'm going. I can't stand more doing this. But she said, I'll go then. I said, right. And that's what I did.
But when women say go, they don't necessarily mean it. He's a human. He's had a bit of a bad day, very bad day by all accounts. You don't sympathise with him. You empathise because who hasn't been there? We've all been there. We've all walked out of the house and thought, that's it, I've had enough.
Back in Portslade, near Brighton, the cops have found the place where the runaway skip truck came from and they've identified the driver.
He was really chilled out. I don't know, I never seen anybody chilled out so much. He had 2 police officers, his boss ranting and raving, obviously, because she was concerned. And he just got out of the van, yellow jacket on, no shirt on, lit up a cigarette and walked casually over to us. Very calm, very calm.
I think your manager or lady wants to see you first.
He was saying that he didn't believe that he clipped any barriers or anything. It was only a minor thing. I got the impression it was only a minor, gone through headlights and that's it, really. Not the fact that the carnage he could have caused if he'd hit a train or if he'd hit someone. But what we're going to do before you get in the car is we'll just breathalyse you, all right?
Oh, yeah, no, that's you do that even before I go to the lorry if you want.
Yeah, we'll do that just before you go to the lorry.
Being breath tested is routine after any accident.
Just ask you a couple of legal questions. Have you had an alcoholic drink in the last 20 minutes?
No.
Put your lips around there, yeah. All right?
Long breath, yeah?
Yes, please, yeah. Keep going. That's fine, thank you. That's it. Takes a couple of seconds to go through. Yeah, 0, brilliant, thank you. Negative breath test. Fantastic.
Drinking and driving is not the man's problem, nor is much else, it seems.
Just hold hands, make it look good.
I really honestly believe that he thinks we didn't do very much wrong, he just went through red lights and that was it. And he's going to get a £60 fine.
In fact, he's going to be charged with a far more serious offence, dangerous driving, which carries up to a 2-year prison sentence. Back in Crawley, the Misper is going to be home in time for tea.
How long have you been married?
But not before PC Man hears all about his troubles and strife.
How long have you been married then?
50 years next year.
50?
50.
You've done well. She's probably worried sick about you.
Probably.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
That's all right, I'll help you out. He was somebody who just had a bit of a problem with his partner and decided to vacate the house and deal with it in his own way of walking, a bit like Forrest Gump. We found him walking up the A23. Obviously that's quite dangerous. Look after him.
Yeah, thank you
very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
A policeman's life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
I joined traffic not to get involved in marital domestic disputes. I've done my share of that. 7 years I've done of that. Drop them off home, as long as they're not killing each other, committing any offences, leave them there.
In Brighton, the skip lorry driver's been dropped off as well, at the police station.
When I looked at the CCTV, when they showed it to me, it was apparent that the vehicle had gone through at speed, clipping the barrier. And he was so lucky there was no train there, and so lucky that nobody was actually at the standing waiting for the gates to shut, because that gate would have landed on him. He's been charged with the offence of dangerous driving and will go to court. Then it'll sink in. I think, yeah, I perhaps did a bit more than perhaps I should have done.
People who play chicken on the railways are all too common. Near misses and lucky escapes on crossings run at around 3 a week. Others are not so lucky. Last year, 15 people lost their lives.
And actually, the number of incidents that we record, we think are probably just the tip of the iceberg. Every year on a national scale, we have a number of fatalities related to misuse at level crossings. Last year we had 300 pedestrians who were narrowly missed by trains, and 100 motorists were narrowly missed by trains.
The sun and the sea make Sussex a mecca for people looking for somewhere to retire. With one of the largest populations of elderly people of any county in Britain, the traffic cops here have a unique challenge. PC's Tony Omatoso and Simon Dove are patrolling the Brighton end of the A23. They know a senior driving moment when they see one.
We saw a vehicle that was in front of us appearing to change lanes without warning.
Interesting manoeuvre, isn't it?
A quick surf on the network and all will be revealed.
As we've got MDT, mobile data terminals, in the vehicles now, we can conduct vehicle checks for insurance, registered keeper, and if we have certain details, we can check licences as well.
Full substantive licence, born in 1929.
Yeah,
it's
what I
Mr.
guess.
Brian.
Yeah.
How's that making him?
80.
80 years old. Licence expiry March 2011.
Yeah. That would explain things.
Blue lights and sirens, blues and twos from behind are normally the signal for the driver to pull over.
Gomez.
Haven't got a clue.
Totally oblivious.
Completely oblivious probably to us being behind him and the blue lights going off.
But this motorist has other plans.
Where's he going now?
He has no idea where he's going, does he really?
At last, he's pulled over.
Put your handbrake on, sir. There we go. Just turn your engine off for me. So I'll just step out your vehicle onto the pavement, sir. Step around here, sir. It's a bit safer. I don't want to get clipped by a car or anything. Okay, the reason we stopped you, sir, is initially we've seen you in the near side lane behind a lorry.
Oh, the mixer.
That's it, the mixer lorry, yeah. You've then moved out to the centre lane.
Yeah.
As a vehicle had already moved over from the outside lane into that centre lane. It was very close to you hitting the front of his vehicle.
Oh, sorry, I didn't.
Were you aware of that vehicle there?
I thought he was further back or not going as fast as what he was probably.
Right, so you were aware it was there, were you?
I was aware there was one coming, but not, you know, to
right.
a degree of fast.
Okay, that's classed as basically a bit of careless driving. Okay, because obviously, you know, there was almost...
Yeah, I'm sorry about
almost a bit of a collision.
Yeah.
And obviously then, as a result of that, we followed you off. You were aware we were behind you at any time?
I saw this car coming, and then when you put your lights on, so, you wanted to go by, you were going somewhere.
No, we wanted you to pull over into the lay-by by the bus stop.
And you didn't, so that's why I carried on. Sorry about that.
No.
I misunderstood what you were trying to do.
Okay. And
then you start thinking, well, maybe we've got a problem with the gent's eyesight now. It needs a bit of further investigation.
Hey, do you want to set up a quick eyesight test?
The traffic cops have the power to test any driver's eyesight they suspect isn't up to scratch and ban them from the road.
You're going to be conducted, you're under caution, OK, that anything's said during it.
Yeah.
OK, so I'm just going to caution you at the moment. You don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence, so you don't mention in question something you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence.
All right.
OK.
Poor eyesight amongst elderly drivers is such a problem in Sussex that they even have a special team to deal with the problem. Today, they're targeting Bexhill-on-Sea, a hotspot for retirees.
Right, we're going to get out.
As long as you don't hit one of those balls.
We're going to get out over there.
No, you can go down there.
So we can get out there. So go that way.
Well, it's easier to go down. You go down.
The crime-fighting duo is made up of long-term partners, PC's Helen Donovan and Phil Barrow.
I see more of her than I do my wife. I know who's in charge. We are like Dempsey and Makepeace, or Little and Large, but I won't say who's little and who's large.
Don't wind him up. I've got to go look.
I'm not like that. And we have a good working relationship. She gets out and does the writing, I get out with the broom.
They're setting up their mobile eyesight screening operation in the town centre, cunningly right outside the post office.
Operation Eyesight is to do with not only failing eyesight but mobility, reaction times. Is it now perhaps the time to give up driving?
That's as good as you're going to get. By law, if you look behind you, that's as far as you've got to see. So it's 20.5 metres, so you're a bit closer than you should be for the limit for seeing. You have to be quite nice to these people. You don't upset them by saying your eyesight's bad. His was not the official distance.
I'm 92.
92?
Yeah, or 91.
So how long have you been driving then?
Ever since I was 14.
14? You feel healthy and sprightly enough to drive?
Oh Lord, yeah, no
Because
trouble at all.
Obviously, in this day and age, lots of cars go a lot quicker, and reaction times are a lot quicker now.
I quite agree with you. I used to drive Winston Churchill, and
my word,
lots of famous people at the time, you know.
Wow, there we go.
All those days are gone.
Put your feet on there for me. Yeah. And can you read that number plate on the police car for me?
GX02. I don't know if it's an O or a D.
Yeah, it's an O, that's fine.
OGH.
Brilliant, excellent. So Grandad's nice and safe. So how often do you have your eyes tested?
Once again now.
Excellent.
Currently, a driving licence is only valid until the age of 70. After that, it has to be renewed every 3 years by the driver filling out a questionnaire confirming that they are still safe to get behind the wheel of a car.
It's basically, for want of a better term, self-certifying themselves that they're fit to drive. And unfortunately, things can change in 3 days or 3 weeks, let alone 3 years. But the legislation is there as it is at the moment, and unfortunately, that's it.
The car's 21 years old, I'm 86, and that's enough.
The motorist pulled over by the traffic cops on the A23 is being put through the same procedure. But for him, it's compulsory.
Stand on where this blue mark is, where the blue thing is here. Now to read the number plate at the back of our police vehicle.
Not fully, no. Because I can pick out those two numbers. I think I pick out an 8.
Yeah.
A 0.
Yeah.
The other and a 2.
Right.
But not quite any others.
OK, just walk forward a little bit further till you sort of get an accurate reading of it.
Yeah.
When you're happy.
OK.
Can you read it yet?
GX08K. I'm still not sure about that one, but it's a T on the end.
Right, no, it's not a T on the end. Come forward a little bit further then.
KFY.
KFY. Yeah. OK, can you read it all off to me now?
GXOL KFY.
OK, so you got any chalk there? I've got to put a mark there.
3740.
The man can only read the number at roughly half the distance of that required in the eyes of the law.
We're looking at, over 10 metres distance shorter than what he should have been, so that's quite concerning, really. I've been a road policing officer for 9 years, and I've probably in that period maybe had 2 or 3 that have failed the roadside test that bad. And the majority of people that I test will pass it with no problems at all.
The man's going to be reported to the court about his driving and to the DVLA about his eyesight. He's looking at having his licence revoked.
One thing, will I be able to drive home?
That's the issue, sir, because I don't really want you driving any further at the moment. What I'd quite happily do, I'd quite happily drive you in your vehicle down to Downsview Road so you can get to your friend's house. I know obviously your car's your independence and it gets you out and about, but at the same time I've got a responsibility to make sure it's safe for other people about on the road, sir.
I genuinely think that people should retake another test at 70 because some people won't even have ever actually taken a test. They've got grandfather rights from driving during the war, but things have changed so much now. There's a lot more vehicles. Sadly, some of the traffic is moving a lot quicker than that did before, and sometimes I feel that some elderly people are maybe not equipped to deal with the amount and the speed of modern day traffic.
I've only got 2 cousins and they live miles away. This lady I was going to pick up this morning, so that's my only friend that I've got locally.
We didn't want him driving that car knowing, what we've just witnessed. So we took him and the vehicle to his destination.
A lot of elderly people don't want to give up their entitlement to drive. They don't want to hang up their driving gloves. But at the end of the day, if you're not up to the standard, your eyesight to drive, then you shouldn't be on the road, full stop.
It's not only the elderly attracted to these parts. Brighton also sees 1 or 2 famous faces. And so occasionally do the traffic cops round here.
We stopped Jordan the other day. Yeah. Her number plate was illegal. Oh yeah, I gave her a ticket. That's probably... That's the white Range Rover over there. That's probably her.
Extraordinarily, the same celebrity is the focus of attention again.
You can't get a more distinctive car, come on. And I thought, ooh, I bet you that is Katie Price.
The personalised number plate reveals that it is.
They're very good number plates, they're really cool. They spell out Bossy and then KT.
Unfortunately, they're illegal. The spaces between the numbers and letters don't conform to the regulations.
It's such a small world that me and Ray would get the same person for the same offence within 3 weeks, randomly. No, she doesn't even live in Brighton.
As well as the plates, there's another problem.
You're kidding me?
No.
No insurance.
You must have insurance.
Well, it didn't come up with no insurance last time.
No.
So I reckon it might have expired and then she's...
We needed to check, because if she didn't have insurance, then we sure as hell were going to take her car away.
Well, no, there's
It's
a couple of things I need to talk to you about. Do you want to pull up here?
I'm fine. What is it? Sorry.
Well, one, there's no insurance on it. It doesn't show there's no insurance on the car.
Should we pull up to the lay-bys? In the National, it's quite quiet up there, and there's lay-bys. Yeah,
We'll
okay.
pull up wherever you like.
Don't be fussy with us.
What's going to happen to Katie next is...
If we stop anybody, we'll go and stop somebody, and they've committed a road traffic offence, then we will do an insurance check on them. And I was absolutely horrified for this lady who earns all this money and is in the media's eye every day, came back with no insurance. Quite surprised to see us, because she said, "Oh, it's you two again." We said, "Yes, it's about your number plate again." And she'd explained to us that she'd had number plates redone. She'd already received a letter from DVLA, and her brother was going to put the new number plates on the back of the car for her, but he hadn't done yet.
The car's showing no insurance. Do you know your insurance company?
Yeah, I'll do it now. Can you close my door? Sit in here with me, please. I don't want to...
I'll sit in there with you, then,
Please
okay?
don't make this awful. I don't want to be on camera.
All right, I'll sit in here with you. Yeah, I can understand that. I understand.
PC Dowman doesn't normally make a habit of indulging his clients, but this one seems to be a bit camera shy.
I only got in the car because of her privacy, and I didn't want to bring her out onto the road because obviously members of the public would start taking photographs of her.
But Katie's a celebrity, and it's time to get out of there, even if that means taking PC Dowman with her.
We had to tell her that, you know, if she did drive away, then obviously she's committed another offence. But I don't think she would have gone off. She was just annoyed that you were from BBC and she was contracted to ITV.
All this fuss. She's on camera all day, every day. Because you're not paying her, that's why.
You know, being kidnapped by Katie Price was a story that I could have told.
Despite the number plate not conforming to the standard, it was still picked up by the camera in the police car. The insurance information that pings up on the computer screen is then usually perfect, but there is a tiny window where it can be not quite up to date.
Someone organises it for her, so they might have done it. And it's just this case that the system hasn't been updated.
She phoned her mum up, who actually organises all of her insurance, and it wasn't clear that the insurance at that time had been purchased for that vehicle. We decided to give her a producer and ask her to produce the details to a police station of her choice within 7 days.
Katie Price was able to prove she had valid insurance after all. Her real trouble is she's having to make sure her personalised number plate is legal.
All right then, have a safe journey home. Yeah, well, see ya.
Why should a celebrity be allowed to have an illegal number plate? Why should they be allowed to speed or have no insurance or do anything? Why should I not deal with that? So she was treated the same as you or I would expect to be treated.
10 miles away, in Lewis, traffic cops are racing to a very unusual crash. A woman in a car has collided in broad daylight with a house.
What age is the person involved, roughly?
PC Steve Dazuki Harmon is going to investigate, and he's got a hunch who might be involved.
I was curious as to whether it was an elderly person driving, and if the vehicle was an automatic car. If you're in a manual car, it's that bit much more difficult to hit something like a house.
Most of the time it is car versus house that ends up being an old person.
And often it's because of sudden, unexpected acceleration, which happens with older drivers in particular.
In an automatic, you can think you're on the brake and you press harder because your brain says brake harder. And in fact, you're not on the brake, you're on the accelerator.
We'll have a look, see if she's fit to drive.
It's not the age, I'll make that clear, of a person that affects their ability to drive. It's things that are age-related.
The car has ended up, literally, right on someone's doorstep.
Yeah, I imagine the owner had quite a shock when he opened the door and he sees the number plate of a Rover Metro in his face.
Oh, the guy in the black car saw it. I think she's come over the crossroads there and then straight into it.
So what was there then? Just a pile of wood, was it?
A pile of wood, yeah.
Right. It looked like someone had taken a shed down with like the car had demolished a shed.
Heard a massive bang, and I actually thought something had come through the roof. The dogs went crazy and opened the front door to see this. The lady's come over the junction and just gone straight through, hit the back of my car and straight into the front of the house.
It struck his Fiesta like a snooker ball and punted it out of the way.
The hapless driver is in her 70s.
Because you've been involved in an accident, I've got a breathalyser. So when did you last have a drink? I'll be lucky, will I? You don't? Okay, that's fine. So I'll get that out of the way. It was clear from the outset that she had no real injuries, other than a bit shaken up, and she did seem a bit confused as well. Breathalyser, there's nothing there, she said. I said to her, what happened then? And she said, I braked for the car, and the vehicle just seemed to surge. Just before you go, I'd just like you to read that number plate.
2326 ALJ.
That's perfect. Nothing wrong with your eyes.
No.
It's the end of the road for the driver. She's decided the time has come to hang up her keys.
I visited her at her home address and she had a licence already. The incident had shocked her into surrendering her licence.
Despite the fact that elderly drivers' skills diminish as they get older, it's actually young people who are at most risk of death or serious injury on the road.
Where do I think I could save the most lives? Then it's a very easy solution. The answer is young drivers. It's the 16 to 25-year-olds have not developed the skills, have not got the experience, and are not able to make those judgments around risk. And that is what's killing more people on the roads than anything else.
Aside from the railways, the best way to travel between London and Brighton is via the M23, except that is during the rush hour. This afternoon, PC Man is using the motorway to make his way back to base, but he's stuck in traffic.
Saw in front of me this queue of traffic in all 3 lanes.
The hold-up is more than just the usual congestion.
I saw an ambulance about 150 yards in front of me put the blue lights on. Thought that was unusual, decided to pull over and have a look at it, or literally it just happened in front of me.
It's a major incident, and PC Man is the first cop at the scene.
When I turn up to a crash, it's usually other units are available, they're already there. Paramedics are there, the doctors are there. So that was a bad experience.
There are more smashed cars further along the hard shoulder, and lying upside down in the middle of the motorway, the wreckage of a black Range Rover.
As soon as you turn up with that white hat on and that fluorescent jacket, everybody says, oh, thank God, over to you.
There's a woman gravely injured in the first car.
Hey, you want to get in there? 407, can I come urgently? Yeah, we're gonna require more traffic units.
Junction 10 southbound, a report of a car on its roof with another 3 vehicles involved. Further calls coming in.
It's a full-scale emergency. More traffic cops, PC's Bertie Bassett and Ian Foxton, are rushing to PC Man's aid. Somehow, the Range Rover has careered into slow-moving traffic that had built up at the motorway exit. The car with the woman in bore the brunt of the impact. And, tragically, PC Man has already realised there's little more that can be done to help her.
You try and hold out hope, but as soon as the paramedic got in the van and we both looked at each other, I knew, he knew, and it was that sort of nod. Yeah, if you do that, mate. That particular moment was... it was bad. The worst situation I've been in.
Just seeing ambulances and fire crews there, you know that it's not going to be a pretty sight. And getting close to the cars, you know that there's going to be injuries involved, and those injuries, you know, are likely to be quite severe, if not fatal.
fire brigade were just arriving as I arrived. The damage and the devastation there was quite shocking. It was a big scene, and you've got a big Range Rover that's on its roof, and that doesn't happen easily.
Which one's that? He's done that. This one. He's in the ambulance.
I say luckily there was an ambulance, so there was some expert medical care there as well as Phil, but he did a fantastic job.
The traffic on the motorway is overflowing with commuters struggling to get home and with people making their way to nearby Gatwick Airport. One lane needs to be kept open.
06 Papa Kilo Juliet. Are you the driver of this car? Okay.
Hold up.
With his colleagues at the scene, PC Man is turning his attention to the cause of the crash.
I had a suspect at that time. He was the driver of the Range Rover. He was in the other ambulance.
Hello, mate.
Hiya.
For
the driver.
Of the Range Rover?
Yeah. He wanted to get off at junction 10A. Didn't see, from what I'm aware of, that the junction piled all the way back and just went from lane 3 to 2 to 1 to Slip Road and hit about 3 cars. Unfortunately, the lady that I was with, she was number 1 in the line in that very small car. So there's all these people behind are basically witnesses.
My first priority was catching up with Phil and to get an update from him about what was going on and what he required me to do.
All I'm going to do, I'm going to get the scene log. If you could start taking details of the other drivers.
I'll get Foxy.
There was a number of witnesses. They needed to be secured in terms of their accounts, their details, before they left the scene. Otherwise, there's a risk of losing vital evidence that we might not be able to get again.
Come in now.
Yeah, Roger, that's received. Details on website.
It's hard to tell at this stage, but there's 3 cars, all travelling southbound on the M23. Something's happened, a collision, and unfortunately one, either silver car, has come off very badly.
Back down beside the coast in Hastings, there's been another crash. Another car has ended up on its roof. It's in a part of town traffic cop PC Dave Catt knows well.
Vehicle upside down, a person trapped.
I used to live around the corner from Fearon Road, so I've got a little bit of local knowledge from that point of view, and I was initially very confused as to how somebody can manage to roll a vehicle in Fearon Road.
It's a normally quiet residential street, not a place for burning rubber.
As soon as somebody mentions an overturned car, generally speaking, it tends to be revolving around a high-speed sort of crash, something outrageous, to be perfectly honest with you. There was a local officer already there. He'd already got the road closure effectively controlled, so everything was, relatively safe.
The ambulance service are already here too, and they've managed to free the trapped driver, a man in his 80s.
Yeah. By the looks of it, he's got slight cuts to his arm.
Yeah.
They're saying minor injury at this time.
Yeah.
It's collided somehow with his other vehicle. I don't know which is 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And the other ambulance crew are just dealing with that male at the moment.
Right, okay.
High speed is clearly not a factor.
Because the vehicle had hit, it was very, very close to that. And if it had been high speed, there would have been loads of vehicles hit, and the scene would have been quite a sort of scene of devastation. So I knew as soon as I got there that it was going to be relatively slow speed.
Here again, an innocent woman has been hit. She's receiving first aid from paramedics.
She sat in a vehicle, minded her own business, then all of a sudden, almighty bang, no warning whatsoever. So she was very, very shocked at, at what had actually happened.
Miraculously, she's escaped with only minor injuries, like the driver, although he now seems to be suffering from a loss of memory.
Can you remember what actually happened? I mean, if you can't remember...
I haven't got a clue.
You haven't got a clue?
No, I honestly say that.
He said he couldn't remember. He said he was just driving down the road and then all of a sudden, crash, and he couldn't really remember anything that actually happened. He was quite coherent, elderly gentleman, very nice guy, what I would call Mr. Respectable. Are the keys still in the ignition?
I think so, yeah.
OK, that's cool. What we'll do is we'll obviously get the vehicle recovered. All we need is the ignition key.
Yeah.
I'll get your keys, the house keys and other bits and bobs off.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Are you going up to hospital? Or
Well, he's advised me to go.
He's not keen to go up there at the moment, so...
Not a problem. What I'll do is, obviously, if you don't go up to the hospital, I'll obviously have a chat with you when you come back out of the ambulance. He was a little bit stubborn, but my granddad, he's, bless his little cotton socks, he's very similar.
He thinks he probably knows best, and 9 times out of 10, he'd probably be all right, but there's a potential that he could have been injured and not actually be aware.
The man is even reluctant to let his wife know what has happened, even though she lives just round the corner.
That's all right, don't worry her.
What we'll have to do is we'll have to
You'll most probably have to go and pick her up. You're going to tell her.
Right, OK. No, they're not going to tell, I don't think, yet.
As it turned out, she was aware of what had happened because she looked out the window, realised he was late. She didn't actually see him, but she worked out he's probably had a crash.
Something's happened. It's crystal clear road, very slow speeds as such, and it's a bit of a mystery as to exactly how he's managed to put the vehicle onto the roof. Look at it, it's automatic.
My initial assessment was that it could be what we call SASH, which is sudden accelerator syndrome hypothesis. The person thinks they're braking, and the vehicle will suddenly accelerate.
No, it looks manual to me. Yeah, manual.
OK. Saw it was a manual gearbox.
So is this one stationary then? Yeah. So he's come down, he's run into that one?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's something that's gone on before it,
right.
underneath the ambulance. So
OK.
I'll just get the marks.
PC Cat's traffic colleague, PC Mark Fowler, has arrived to help try and solve the mystery of what happened.
There's no witnesses.
No.
So we'll have a look up the road and see what...
It's manual gearbox, not automatic. So...
Sash is out the window.
Yeah.
Let's have a look up the road when that ambulance goes, see what's gone on up there, and then...
Okey-doke.
And then get the scene cleared, I suppose.
Yep, no worries.
Okay.
Right, I'll get my reflective on.
It was unbelievable. You wouldn't expect somebody to tip a vehicle over on a road like that. A fairly slow speed road with cars parked either side.
On the M23, the devastation caused by an accident at high speed is all too real. A woman, it's feared, has lost her life. The painstaking investigation into how it could possibly have happened has begun, with the cops sealing off the area, just like they would for a murder scene.
The initial stage of how you deal with a scene is crucial to the future of the investigation.
That means talking to witnesses as soon as possible.
There's one lady who was a front seat passenger in a vehicle. I think she was had children in the car, and her husband was the driver. And she'd, I think, walked down to the silver car to check on the injured party, and obviously being faced with a horrible sight. So she was in quite a lot of shock as a result of that, shaking quite badly.
Another eyewitness saw the full horror of the crash unfold.
The silver car moved forward and hit the red car.
Yep.
Then I saw the black car flipped a few times.
She was in the queuing traffic and had a remarkable escape.
And basically what I'd done is I turned my move out of the way, you know, like to the left just in case. I didn't do too fast just in case someone was coming down on the inside. And basically, I never got touched. What it is, I saw it coming and I shut my eyes. Because I was waiting for the impact behind my car.
So you could tell it was going to impact before it happened? She was sat looking in a rearview mirror, saw the Range Rover sweeping across and thought, he's going to hit. Next thing she knows, she closes her eyes, hears the bang, and then she opened her eyes and saw it tumble round the side of her and just like slow motion hit the van in front, then roll over. And she was in between the two. Lucky.
He was too fast. I think he was in the wrong lane as he pulled over because he pulled over too sharp. He approached it too fast. Because if you stayed in the first lane, you know there was a build-up and you would have slowed down.
You could smell the fear in her voice as she was telling you. And you could see her running back in her head what was going on.
No, I think she lived just round the corner from me as well.
She was a trainer for Sainsbury's and she did the management courses. All those bits of paper floating all over the road. And this is the bit that touched me quite a lot, was every one of those comments was her feeding, post-feed course, where you give your comments after a course. Everyone was saying how good she was, her years of experience and how I'm going to use it. And that was just on a couple that I picked up to put back into the car.
The person responsible for the carnage is a man in his 20s who has escaped with only cuts and bruises.
His name's Benjamin. Stick with him, breathalyse him.
Were there any passengers in the messages to him?
I haven't asked that yet.
So those three there, where are they from?
They three, I've got their details. I haven't accounted for those yet.
They ran no traffic?
Yeah.
Phil asked me to go and stay with the driver because the accounts from the witnesses at that early stage gave the impression that the accident occurred due to his manner of driving.
The Range Rover driver's gone to Crawley Walking Centre Hospital with an officer with him, and he's currently being checked out for his injuries.
From the evidence given by the witnesses, he is the prime suspect.
It's our version of a murder. This is our version of what CID will deal with as a murder.
Hello? Right, basically from Neil Walker, do not release him. No, but if they turn around at hospital and say no, he can go, nick him.
In Hastings, the cops are still trying to determine who or what is to blame for the car somersaulting in a back street.
I'm going to be looking for marks in the road in a minute to see what's happened further up. I mean, we don't know, there might be marks that indicate that he's swerved or he's fallen asleep, for instance, but we'll have a good look at the scene.
One factor could be the low setting sun.
Whether the sun's been in his eyes coming down the hill and he's only seen the stationary vehicle at the last minute and then yanked the steering over, that's a possibility.
Another factor could be the man's eyesight.
That patrol car there, can you read the registration?
I should think it's CY52AXT, is it?
Have a look at the first digit again.
GY.
Yeah.
52.
Yeah.
AXT.
That's it. Okay, that's fine. He was a little bit embarrassed about what had happened. I think he was trying to play the situation down. He just wanted to walk home.
Physically, I feel all right. Mentally, I feel... Well, I don't think it was that bloody serious.
With injuries to a third party involved, though, it's a serious enough matter for the cops to be considering bringing charges, which is why gathering every bit of evidence is so important.
Done the rim? No, that rim is where it's gouged the tarmac down there.
He's turned so hard that the rim of the wheel has actually gouged the road. That is a very, very significant factor regarding this incident, which would also indicate that where he's carried out such a severe manoeuvre, he's then hit a parked vehicle. The vehicle he's driving would have been out of balance. And that was the clue that gave us that that's why the vehicle then rolled.
The tread's okay and the pressures are okay, so it's got to be driver error or some sort of medical episode.
If a driver voluntarily gives up his licence in certain cases like this, they can avoid prosecution. They can only then get it back if they agree to complete a special driving course.
In this scenario, he was offered a driver improvement scheme. I think he's declined that, so we'll have to let the magistrate decide what happens.
The driver of the Range Rover involved in the accident on the M23 has been brought straight from the hospital to the police station in Crawley to find out his fate.
Okay. You're aware why you're here? Okay, we'll stop talking.
He's under arrest for dangerous driving.
The initial stage of when he was arrested for dangerous driving, and he was asking on the welfare of the person, and he was informed that it wasn't looking good, but she was still alive. He didn't show a great deal of emotion.
Back at the scene of the accident, it's just been confirmed from the hospital that the woman has died.
Just been confirmed that she has died.
It's the news the traffic cops have feared all along.
I'm not saying it doesn't make us sad, we don't get upset at crashes, but we will deal with what we see here professionally to try and get a full investigation, to get the family of whoever's been injured in it an idea and an appreciation of how it happened and how their loved one's been injured or taken away from them.
Specialist crash investigators have arrived, and PC Foxton, an experienced family liaison officer, has been assigned to the case.
We're the link between the family and the investigation. We're not trained counsellors, so we're not trained in that. We're trained in being their link. We will put them in touch with people who can help them through the tragic journey they're having to go through after a crash.
26-year-old Benjamin Borrego has been re-arrested for the offence now of causing death by dangerous driving.
It was after probably maybe up to 45 minutes in the police station the news came through, and I told him. He went white and looked shocked, but he was still quite chatty and talkative and even jokey. I don't think that he has any idea, or doesn't show that he has any idea of what might be around the corner for him. And if convicted for an offence of death by dangerous, he could be looking at custody.
Borrego previously had a ban for drink driving, but he's tested negative for alcohol and drugs this time.
Okay, I've signed this. This is actually an evidential statement from the machine. I've got your signature, which and its subject.
What could possibly have caused him to swerve across the motorway into the queuing traffic remains a mystery. On the motorway, the crash investigators are hoping to find the answer.
I relate collision investigations to jigsaws. In actually looking at it, I'm aware that all the pieces for the jigsaw are there to create a picture. Unfortunately, I don't know what the picture is, and I have to locate all the pieces. And obviously it's a matter of linking all those pieces together into a comprehensive and coherent order to try and obtain an insight as to exactly what did happen. I will always begin at the end, where vehicles have come to rest. It's a matter of looking at the entire picture holistically, the damage, the marks around where the vehicles have come to rest, and walking back along the timeline where the vehicles have come from to try and determine from those marks how they were caused and how the vehicles have finally come to their point of rest.
The southbound carriageway is completely closed now. It's a race against the clock to find every single piece of evidence.
And I think it's important that one never really loses that touch with the fact that this involves real people, husbands, wives, children, and that sort of thing.
I feel very sad. It's never a nice thing. It's fairly upsetting that somebody has died as a result of this. It's part of our job, so we've got quite a lot more to do when we get back to the police station.
Some belongings of the Range Rover driver have been found that could prove crucial. 2 mobile phones.
There's an iPhone in the vehicle apparently. There's a BlackBerry being seized from him in custody.
Excellent. Both of those needs to be iPhone.
Yeah.
Forensic examination of the phones will determine whether there's a possibility the Range Rover driver was fatally distracted. In the meantime, all other possibilities will be thoroughly investigated.
The vehicles are going to be recovered to a recovery yard where, given some more time, better resources and the cold daylight that we can benefit from, we intend to do a mechanical reconstruction and refit, superimposing one vehicle onto another to try and illustrate the attitude or likely attitude of the vehicles at impact.
Finally, 8 hours after the dreadful crash, the motorway can be reopened.
I believe it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. We're finally able to open the carriageway, having recovered all the vehicles and ensured there wasn't any carriageway damage that may present a hazard to other road users.
There's a lot more work for PC Foxton in his role as an FLO.
Hello, it's Ian Foxton from Motor Policing Hayward Heath. Could I speak to Tony, please?
The family of Deborah Bishop, torn apart by the tragedy, can only hope the wait for the case to come to trial isn't too long, so they can begin to get on with rebuilding their lives.
Children were both teenagers. One was just about to come up to her 16th birthday, one was just about to start uni. 2 daughters lost their mum, her husband lost his best friend. It's going to be tough, yeah. They've seen the gentleman for the first time, they've seen the other driver in court. They've now got a face to put to that shadowy figure that took their loved one away. And obviously we're now going to go through the court, and then obviously if it goes to a trial, there will be obviously evidence heard in court that will be distressed.